Derek, could you tell us a little bit more detail about the research that you commissioned?
We did a research regarding Industry 4.0 and the Internet of Things. The main goal of this research was to understand how our customers perceive these new technology trends, if they see benefits regarding adopting these technologies, or if they have some concerns because they see some barriers regarding adoption of Industry 4.0 or Internet of Things. And we ask also them to give some feedback regarding our current offer and regarding ideas for potential new development. And this is mainly a qualitative research done in Europe and in Americas, and we mainly interviewed OEMs in different key vertical markets for control techniques like packaging, printing, stage technologies.
Fantastic. Kate, could you give an overview of the methodology that we used for this research?
Sure. So this project was very much a qualitative piece of research. So by that I mean it's very in-depth, and we were looking to understand some of these objectives in a lot of detail with a small number of customers. So we did interviews lasting around 1 to 2 hours with 10 different customers in North America and Europe. And it was very much an open discussion, but with quite a lot of structure behind it. So we had a number of card sort exercises to get customers to prioritise benefits and challenges, and also to we also got feedback on a range of new ideas, as Dario mentioned. So we had some stimulus and things to share. So it was very engaging conversations, and we got some really interesting in-depth findings.
So a key part of the research was really about discovering what our customers knew about Industry 4. Could you give an overview of what you discovered?
Yeah, absolutely. So what we found was there was a huge variety of levels of awareness of Industry 4.0. So it wasn't tied to any kind of geographic location, but a real mixture. Some who were very aware and engaged in the subject, others who really had never even heard the term and were not really aware of some of the implications. So in terms of actually kind of categorizing that, we defined 4 key sort of personas or types that kind of came out of this. So at one end there was the kind of low awareness customers, so people who didn't really understand what it meant and what it was, so they were very much in the kind of learning phase. The second type was skeptic, so people who kind of understood what it was all about but were a little bit skeptical about the potential benefits and a little bit unsure about how it held value for them. The next type was pragmatic, so these were people who really did understand it and had a very kind of pragmatic approach to how it might impact on their business. So they see it as really a natural evolution of automation. So they're kind of really interested in the benefits, how it actually benefits them on a day-to-day basis. And then the last persona type was visionary. So these were people who had a really good understanding of Industry 4.0 and were very engaged in sort of developing future solutions that would kind of revolutionize their business sectors.
Fantastic. Could you give us some examples of customers who fit into those classifications?
Yeah, for instance, we met some skeptic customers in the field of stage technologies, and they are concerned regarding use of Industry 4.0 technologies, basically due to security implications and then safety implications regarding their applications in theaters, for instance. And on the other hand, we met visionary customers, especially in industries where they are already experiencing disruptive technologies changes, like for instance printing where digital printing is changing the landscape of their competition.
Okay. So from the customers you spoke to, Kate, what were the key opportunities and benefits that they were most excited about?
Yeah, I mean, there were quite a few. I think the one that came out time and time again was around predictive maintenance. So for most of the OEMs we spoke to, remote diagnostics and support was something they already do. They provide that sort of maintenance as a revenue stream. But being able to actually perform predictive maintenance and actually analyse data at an aggregate level and use that to predict failures was seen as a real benefit for the end user as well, obviously, as the OEM. So that was a really key one that came out. The other one, which of course is of great importance to end users, is all around operational efficiency. So having better controlled process, reduced waste, higher productivity. That came out very strongly, especially for OEMs who work with end users who are manufacturing product. And then a third one that was interesting was around smart machine optimization. So that's the ability to essentially look at how the machine's performing and use aggregate data again to sort of understand how machines and components could be optimized. And that's a real benefit for OEMs and also component suppliers to really sort of optimize the design of those machines in the future.
Okay, were there any customers who are doing anything in those areas today?
Yes, we met some customers, for instance one in printing industry, and this customer is running two projects. One is specifically for a customer, a European end user, who has different plants in different European countries, and they are providing better tools to achieve operational efficiency. And on the other hand, this printing machine maker is also running an internal project to understand how to use real-time machine data coming from their end users to optimize the development of their own machines.
Okay. Phil, what was the general level of excitement between the different customers that you spoke to take on Industry 4 technologies?
I think it varied considerably. I mean, some, as we discussed earlier, some were very, very engaged. Others were much more sort of skeptical. I think the overriding feeling is that in some markets there are kind of clear and obvious benefits. In other markets, the benefits are slightly more intangible, and I think some customers will almost need to be shown what the benefits are before they can really buy into that, whereas others can kind of already see, more clearly where the benefits might lie.
Okay, so we've obviously got some people who are moving forwards now with some projects. We've got some other people who are less sceptical. From the people you spoke to, what barriers did they see to actually implementing and moving forwards with Industry 4 opportunities?
Well, one of the key barriers that was raised quite frequently was that of security and privacy. Lots of concern around opening up systems to kind of public cloud or to connected to third-party companies. So there's concerns around IP. So one of the customers we talked about was particularly concerned about preserving the IP of their own software and not opening up their machines to third-party companies. There's concerns around kind of hacking. So connecting drives and machines directly to wide area networks is obviously a concern in terms of data breaches, security breaches, and then there's a perception around storing data in third-party cloud-based systems. So that may well be more a perception than the reality, because I think the truth is probably a lot of these customers haven't really looked into it in too much detail at this stage. It's more an immediate perception of this is our data, we want to keep it on site ourselves where we have control of it, rather than necessarily storing it on a public or private cloud system. So there's really some clear messages there that need to be kind of refined. And I think it's interesting because maybe a third-party cloud system might actually be more secure than their own private network. But there are kind of perception issues to be overcome there in terms of getting people to sort of accept the storing data externally.
Okay, what other barriers did we see?
There was a really big one around investment. So because it's such a broad topic area and there's a huge amount of data that could be collected and could be analysed, I think people really struggle to understand where to get started. So the investment in terms of time, money, resources is significant. And I think that the other challenge is actually it often requires very collaborative working, both within a company but also between the OEM, the end user and potentially other suppliers to find a really good solution. And that in itself is extremely challenging and it requires very strong and open relationships where people have that time to invest in really sort of want to get to a good solution. So that did come up again and again as a potential problem.
Okay, were there any other technical barriers that they saw?
Yeah, we interviewed customers in R&D departments and we discussed with them, for instance, the issue related to lack of interoperability between products. Nowadays products offer Ethernet connectivity or even internet connectivity, but according to our customers there isn't a real standard to exchange data with cloud systems. And regarding this topic, for instance, a customer in the packaging industry suggested us to work closer with user groups to define common standards across their industry rather than trying to impose our own specific standard.
So in terms of Industry 4, how do customers perceive control techniques today and what are the opportunities for control techniques in the short term?
I think they were really keen to have the conversations, and I think whenever we do research like this it's always seen very positively just to start the conversations around some of these important topics. So I think they were very pleased that Control Techniques is looking into this area and exploring it. And I think they want to see more from Control Techniques and other suppliers, and there is a big need for guidance and support because end users in particular and OEMs to an extent struggle to sort of define exactly what could be done with the data and what the benefits are. So I think there's a big role for Control Techniques to help define what some of those benefits and specific offers might be. So it's definitely a good time to enter those conversations, and this whole area needs to be very collaborative. So I think that's a theme that needs to continue, is those conversations with customers, because that's the way these solutions will really sort of gain traction.
Okay, and in terms of our products today, how do customers perceive those in terms of Industry 4.0?
Well, regarding our current products, in particular regarding our flagship drive, Unidrive M700, the product is very well perceived by our customers. They think that the product is IoT or Industry 4.0 ready due to the fact that the product offers Ethernet connectivity, so they can virtually connect Unidrive M700 with any Ethernet based system, even a cloud-based system. Moreover, the product offers the capability to elaborate data locally due to the onboard machine controller MCI, and the product is also able to store this data locally and then share this data with external cloud-based systems. So in general, a very good feedback.
And do you think the drive is a good place to aggregate that data? And what kind of data would you look at, do you think?
Well, in first instance, yes, because the drive is the closest device to the real world, so is positioned very well to get productions data, to elaborate them and to aggregate them before sending this data to other devices. Some customers have also highlighted that central machine controller could do this activity as well. but of course the performance of drive systems is different than the performance of a machine controller. So the drive could get more data
at a faster time base.
And at a faster time base,
okay.
Yeah.
So really, just to bring this interview to a close, do you think each of you could just give me what you took out of this research project? Phil, would you like to start?
Yeah, I mean, for me, one of the key takeaways is that the end user is really the gatekeeper to machine and production data. So it's really important that the communication of the value and benefits of sharing their data and making it accessible is really well communicated. Because obviously, Industry 4 solutions really do rely on the kind of the sharing and gathering and analysis of large amounts of data. But obviously, in the press we see a lot these days, kind of quite negative stories about data sharing, cyber attacks, hacking. So people are naturally kind of wary and concerned about that. So I think it's really imperative that we create a level of trust and believability in terms of the kinds of solutions that we're presenting.
Okay. Okay, for you?
Yeah, a sort of related point really, but I think defining the need or the benefit for all the parties involved is really important, and because there's A, so much data, but B, so much variation between your customers in terms of vertical, the complexity of the machines and the control systems, level of standardisation in that industry. There's so many variables and things that mean that there needs to be some real thinking around where is the need and how does that vary for different types of customer. And in relation to that as well, there really needs to be some careful thought about what's the benefit for each person in that, or each sort of company within that system, so the OEM, the end user and the supplier. So the solutions that are going to work are the ones where there's obvious benefits for everybody and that's very synergistic as a result.
Yeah. Okay. And Dario, for you?
My takeaway regarding this research is to understand better the role of drives and machine controllers within a system regarding collecting and sharing data with a cloud-based system. In order to understand where is the best place to do that. We have seen that the best product to collect data could differ between different vertical markets. So this is something that we need to take into account when we discuss potential solutions with our customers.
So Dario, where do you see the next stages as a result of this research?
Well, first of all, I think that we need to communicate better the benefits of our flagship product, because a key feedback of this research was that the product is IoT ready and Industry 4.0 ready, and we could do this in the short term. As a medium or long-term goal, in my opinion, it's interesting to analyze better customers in some specific verticals, in particular in vertical markets where we have found visionary customers, so customers who are now investing in Industry 4.0, and so those kind of customers are more willing to buy our products to achieve their IoT or Industry 4.0 goals.
Okay, fantastic. Well, if I could just close the interview by saying thank you very much to the three of you, for your contribution to this project. I think we've learned a huge amount, and we're really at the early stages of a journey along with our customers, I think, but this is really going to set the platform for us to develop from. So thank you.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank you.